Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Green Couch Corner. Today I have another guest. Do you guys think he looks like me? This is my older brother. Some think he's younger.
I don't understand it.
It
Makes no sense.
Mide. Introduce yourself.
I mean, you just did.
No, but like there's more to say. You're more than my brother. What the heck is up?
What's up to the people?
Mm.
Yeah, Mide, full name Oladimeji, though mom will say I'm definitely pronouncing that wrong. Yeah, I'm 2.5 years older. 2 years, 6 months, and a week older than her.
Exactly, to the date.
To the date. Yeah, I am a process engineer. I love basketball. I love music. I'm ambiverted for what that's worth.
Is that a real thing?
It is a real thing. Like, why would ambiversion not be real?
Because I've just heard people say that, no, it's kind of a cop-out from saying you're extroverted or introverted. Ambivert is like this, I can't choose.
No, it's not an I can't choose thing. I think there are just generally situations where my introversion comes out, whereas others, my extroversion comes out.
Okay, what are the situations?
If you put me on a stage, put a mic in my hand, I'm a crackhead.
Okay, so like this right now.
No, that's a little different.
Why?
Musically speaking.
Whatever.
Music speaking.
Feel free to be a crackhead here. That's how we...
I don't know if all that's really required for the situation. I feel like, I think like stage, church, that's kind of like my extroversion.
Yeah.
Most other places I'm introverted, but I can talk to people. I will never forget, I was 19. I was at a church and I met someone for the first time. And I was talking to her and she was like, "Oh, what do you do?" I was like, "I'm an engineering student." She's like, "Oh, really? You can talk." And I was like, dang, that profession is cooked.
Yeah, you guys don't have a good reputation for being good with people.
No, we don't.
But can you understand where that comes from?
Yeah, I see it. It's kind of unfortunate because I'm not a big fan of generalizations, just because it's so hard to describe an entire population as a monolith and like, oh, they're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
But also, when you have classmates who can't speak or classmates who don't shower, like you kind of understand where.
Shower?
Yeah, sometimes. Honestly, it wasn't bad in my class. It's more like the high super codey disciplines, like the software engineers, the ECE, like electrical computer engineers.
The people who aren't really allowed to sleep.
Yeah.
So you don't sleep, you don't shower. It's kind of like a
Yeah
vicious cycle.
Yeah, that type stuff.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So then why don't you fall into that category?
Because I'm normal.
No.
Actually, I'm actually very not normal.
I've never heard you describe yourself that way
I'm not
before.
normal, but like I don't know how you can just exist in this life and not be able to talk or hold conversation. Now, I'm very shy. Like, I'm not very good at like initially meeting people. Like, if you come to me and say hi, like, oh, I'm all ears, like I'll talk. But like, if you want me to go to you and I don't know you, I'm scared.
Huh? Why? Yeah. What's scary about that?
Rejection.
Speak on it.
Yeah.
Speak on it. Where does that come from?
Trauma.
Yeah, go deep.
I was bullied a lot in school.
Which schools? Because I've
multiple.
This is not me invalidating your experience, okay? This is just me asking because obviously we went to some similar schools. So, yeah, which ones and how did that manifest itself?
What schools? Like middle school, like grade 5, 6. There's some stuff there. I just got made fun of a lot for like being, honestly, just being. Being smarter than people, being taller than people, having bigger feet than people. That one really got me. That was a little strange. Yeah, I think it kind of like got. I'm not trying to sound like cocky or anything, but I feel like it kind of got worse in high school, where I feel like being good at stuff or like enjoying being good at stuff wasn't appreciated.
Okay.
It was like, oh, he tries hard in school. He tries to be like an outstanding citizen. What a loser. Yeah.
In high school too?
In high school especially.
Because just for context, guys, we went to like a boarding school where like their mantra was like, it's cool to be smart.
That's what the school wants.
Yeah.
That's how they branded it. So that's why like we were like model students, model like ambassadors for the school in that sense, because we like fit into like, oh, the do everything mentality. That's like what the administration wanted. That wasn't what the student body necessarily cared about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what did the bullying look like? Like in middle school, what did it look like? Because I'm imagining it was different at different stages.
Yeah. Just a lot of like comments, a lot of jokes, like teasing and stuff like that. I don't even remember like specifics and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't even, this is embarrassing. I'm remembering like 7th grade. I can't remember like when like bullying awareness month or anti-bullying that time was, but like I wrote a song about like I was told like no, it's like okay, I wrote a song, but I had to make a video for class because I was like the class president about bullying, and I remember like name dropping someone from 6th grade in the video.
Dang.
She didn't go to this next school, so it was fine. But I just remember thought I was like, oh yeah, like she did this to me, like she made fun of me in this way. She just kept putting me down. This really sucked. Blah blah blah.
Got you.
But yeah, the song, man. Sometimes I think about like old songs I've written. I'm like, dang, like I had no bars. Like, I'm pretty sure songs was like, bullying really isn't cool. It's found most prominently in school. If you see bullying happening, don't stand by. We don't need to make a sacrifice or something like
Sacrifice?
Yeah.
Whoa.
There's like songs like Taylor Swift's Me. Like I was like named up. Yeah, my bars were whack.
We don't have to say whack. They were unique.
They were juvenile.
They were for their time.
They were bad.
Okay. You said it, not me.
That's okay. They were bad. I can acknowledge that.
So middle school. How were you internalizing it at that stage? Like, did you think to yourself, like, I don't know, were you down on yourself? Were you like, yeah, whatever?
Probably I was down on myself.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I don't know, I just feel like generally had like insecurities and stuff, so that just didn't really help. I guess
like, the insecurities, did they exist beforehand or stem from?
It's kind of like chicken egg situation. Like I don't know which one came first. I think they probably originated in school and they were just perpetuated in other places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would they? Because I don't know if this is a chicken and egg or if this is an aggravating factor sort of thing, but being perpetuated in other places, do you think it's because you were aware of something or like the insecurity had showed up, so then you were interpreting things through that lens? Or were people just like really mean to you in other spaces as well too?
I just think people were mean. I don't think I became like aware of it like that until honestly probably university.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what was it like in high school?
High school was weird. Like, I don't know. I'm not one of those people who think, oh, high school is the worst. Never go back. Like, obviously, I don't want to go back to high school. Like, I like my life now.
Yeah.
But I actually did enjoy high school a lot. There's just like a lot. I mean, there's a lot of loneliness in general in life, but I feel like there was just a lot of loneliness in high school. Like, feeling like, okay, like I'm trying to do the right things. Like, I'm doing well in school. Like, I'm doing sports. I'm doing arts. Like, I'm a good person. Like, I'm trying to like be a upstanding citizen. Like, I know a lot of people, but I feel like I'm like no one's first choice of friend. It's like, oh, like sure, I can go to lunch with people, but like if it came down to like going to lunch with one person, I'm no one's choice to go to lunch with.
Right.
Type situation.
Oh, that's not nice.
Not particularly.
That's not a nice feeling.
No.
Why do you think that happened?
Good question. I don't know. I think I don't really have an answer. I think I don't think I fit like the social construct of what high school was or what our people at our school wanted to be. So I don't think that helped. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess I was kind of like a floater in a sense was like I knew virtually everyone, like because I knew people like different social groups and stuff like that. But I don't think I was like deeply entrenched in any one of them. It's like honestly, as like the year one, it's okay. Like one term I'm like with the rugby team, next term like with the basketball team, sometimes like with my dance group, I'm sometimes with my band, sometimes like just with guys in the house. But it was kind of like situational, depending on like what was going on. That was like who I was with.
Yeah.
But it was like based on circumstance, not necessarily based on like choice.
Interesting. Yeah. In general, in life, do you ever feel like you've had a best friend?
That is like yes and no.
Because I feel like I resonate with you on a lot of those things because I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I think there is something to feeling other than like when your peers care about certain things
that you just don't
that
care
you
about.
just do not care and could not will yourself to care about. So to them it looks like you're being snobby or like you think you're better than other people. But like no, I don't care about your I don't know, your music, your trap star, whatever. I don't know. Music was like a touchy subject for me. I was like, I just want to listen to my indie folk and my Jesus songs and my like country. And I couldn't tell anybody. Like in high school, my music was such a secret because because other people were just listening. Everyone was listening to rap. Like, everyone. And I was so like, I would go to open houses, which is like kind of our school's version of a house party. I would go to them and would sometimes pretend to know the songs because I was like, I don't know what this is.
Oh, wow.
Most often, actually, I'd pretend to know the songs.
That's crazy. See, I think I knew the songs. I feel like early on in high school was a lot of like rap and stuff like that. And then like late 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, that's when I started finding like my more like chill vibes music. Like the first playlist I ever made on Spotify was a playlist called Turn Up. Like all my songs, there's like, I mean, honestly, they didn't all really fit the mold. Like I put Stitches by Shawn Mendes on my playlist. So it's just really not a turn up song at all. It's not turn up at all. But that was like a lot of like, okay, the Migos was there, like some like Chance was there. Just like, the artists that were like really popping in those days or all that stuff. And then it was later on, I was like, that's when I found like my Jeremy Zuckers, my Quinn 92s, who else? Black Bear, Mansions, Johnny and Kyle. Or those are the early days of like that playlist, and that's like evolved and stuff like that over time.
Yeah. So then back to like the other, like feeling like your other, yeah,
I think we moved too much to ever really have a best friend.
This is true.
And I think I got like the short end of the stick, especially like with the move like 2013. That move I feel like really did me dirty. And it was like a situation that was like just not being there for very long, and then going to high school, it was like, oh, now like I've moved across the world, but I'm only here for a year, so like everyone else here has known each other for years, so I only have like a year to like break into their social groups, like actually I'm out. So that wasn't great, whereas you had like 3 years there. So it's a lot easier for you to like make friends. So like when it comes to like visiting, like you actually like miss it, like you actually have friends to go back to, where it's like, I mean, these are people I went to school with for a year who like barely knew me.
This is true. Although I'd say the flip side of that is that even in those 3 years that I was there, in the first year, definitely did not want to engage. Like people would ask me to hang out within the first couple months, and I'd be like, oh, my parents said I can't. Like I just didn't want to. I was so socially off. And not that I was like awkward, I just didn't want to. So in the beginning I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I did really engage grade 7, grade 8, grade 8, I was on the way out. So I was kind of like, okay, see ya. And now I only talk to like 2 people really from that time. So I think that just goes to say you can still spend a long amount of time and still have minimal connections. And that's not a bad thing. So they're still quality connections, right?
Yeah, I just don't really think I had the quality.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay, so then moving at awkward stages, no time for a best friend. What would you have wanted one at that time?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my dream or my dream has always been like, oh, this how like a best friend, like someone like you can rely on like 24/7, like regardless of the situation. And I feel like I've had that. I feel like I've had like that in spurts potentially, like summer camp. Like Isaac was my guy. Yeah, I went to nerd camp
Shout out Isaac.
Shout out Isaac. Yeah, I went to nerd camp summer before 11th grade, and like met this one guy, Isaac, and like he and I just hit it off. So like we were like besties. It was like it was a whole thing. Yeah, that was short lived. Like there were times in high school, like, oh, I had like a best friend. Shout out Ava. Like she was my best friend for a long time, but that was obviously complex and convoluted and all that jazz. Yeah. And then honestly, I feel like Sid's then like the only people who have. There's Izzy. Like Izzy's like my guy. Like, I think he's like the closest thing I've had a best friend, but also it sucks. It's like we're never like in the same city, so it's like weird having that. But no, Izzy's my guy. But I feel like other than him, the people who I would have called my best friends have been like my girlfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I want to dive into.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh girl. Oh girl.
Okay, you're doing too much. You're dragging it.
That's to drive my point home, you know. Ooh, they hear my real laugh. That's
not real though. No. You actually manufactured that laugh. That's not natural, and I think you need to be honest with the people about that's not normal.
No, but like I don't know how it came about. I
don't know how it came out either.
I think one day I just did it ironically, and then I couldn't undo it. So in
Control Alt Delete.
No,
Control Alt Delete.
In any situation, I just want to go he. I don't know. I can't do anything about that. But yes, guy girl friendships. You've had many of them.
Many.
I feel like you've gravitated almost towards having mostly girlfriends or being closer to girls over time.
I wouldn't say gravitated in terms of like making that an intentional decision.
No, not intentional decision. Let me not say you've gravitated. It has happened.
Yeah. That
way. How come?
Again, I don't like to make generalizations, but sometimes men suck. I think a lot of men are. I'm not trying to diss my entire gender,
because that would be something.
Yeah, I think this isn't like gas me up or anything, but I think I have a higher emotional intelligence than most men, like your average guy, and I feel like the things that I care about, the things I want to talk about, or things that I observe are just not things that most men observe or really care about. Like the one thing I've noticed is like I love having deep conversations with people, but I realized as I got older, people can only have those like deep vulnerable conversations when they're drunk. So like I would never, like if I ever went to like house parties in like university, it wasn't to like get drunk or like I literally had like my 2-liter iced tea. Yeah. Like I was chilling. But I would like wait, I'm there. So like by the end of the party when people like chill music down there, I would like we could have conversations about like life and stuff like that they need to be drunk to have, where I can just have them like on the fly. Yeah.
Was it guys though that you're having these conversations with, or was it still?
It's like guys and girls, but like probably guys.
Okay, that's
in those contexts. Okay, but like they had to get to a state
to get
to have those conversations. So I feel like and like the day to day, like the checking in on our friends, like caring, having like more communication. Girls were just a lot better at that, and especially with how much we moved, a lot of it was like texting. And so, I mean, not to say I know a lot of women who suck at texting too. But a lot of guys I know really suck at texting. It's really, it's like out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. Like once you're not in their life, in their face 24/7, they kind of forget that you exist.
That is something.
Yeah.
So riddle me this. How do you juxtapose what you've just said and the experience that you've had against the, let me call it a cliche. I don't know. Maybe it's the wrong word. But against that notion or that thing that girls say sometimes when they're friends with mostly guys that, oh yeah, like I have mostly guy friends because girls are too much drama. It's like what you described, not just the other side of that coin.
Is it?
I'm wondering.
No, here's the thing. It's not from a desire, because it's not like I'm intentionally seeking out only female friendship.
Yeah. I think a lot of girls in that situation would say the same thing.
I mean, maybe I'm thinking of like the girls who are like, I'm not like other girls, and like they're like oh, girls suck, like, you know, like with their makeup and like their dresses and all that stuff, like that type of, like the girl in every movie who can like skateboard and like fix his cars, right. Her name's Joe, type situation.
But it's really Josephine.
Yeah. So I feel like that stereotype, that's more like an intentional, like, nah, girls suck, it's only guys, whereas me, it's like I would love to have like deep, close relationships with my guys. They just often haven't existed. So the relationships that I've had that have been like deep and more like intimate, stuff like that, have been with women.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's put the grand debate.
Okay.
What am I gonna say?
Can men and women be friends?
Very good.
They can be friends.
How, to what extent? Are there limitations on that?
There are, well, yes and no.
Okay.
Like, how do I explain this?
Tell me.
I'm trying to think about, I think it's easy to be like, okay, like if there's a relation, if one or both parties in relationships, it's obviously like boundaries that should be crossed, but I'm trying to like think about it beyond, like without the cop out of the relationships. I do think that for most people, like as a general rule of thumb, like your closest friends should be of your own gender. I just feel like over time, there are just conversations that are more or less, for lack of a better word, inappropriate to consistently be having like in depth with members of the opposite sex.
Very good.
Yeah, so at some point you just gotta like, also like, if you're a guy, like guys are more or less, guys are going through the same thing as you. If you're a woman, women are going through the same thing as you. So I feel like naturally it should just pivot to where like your people you're closest with are the people who are going through the same things as you, experientially. So yeah, I mean, it's not to say like, oh, don't call if you're a guy and you have a female friend, like, oh, once we hit a certain age, sorry, we just can't talk anymore. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. But I feel like there's gotta be like a level of like some boundaries in place where like, okay, we're not going like, not talking about certain topics, we're not going or as in depth on certain topics, we're not like constant access. Yeah.
Are those boundaries communicated, or are they just executed and everybody adjusts accordingly?
I don't think they're often not communicated. I think that's a problem. I think they should be.
Okay. How would that conversation take place? Imagine like you've been friends with like a girl for years, right? Like since you were kids. Then you get older, life changes, and it's like, okay, cool. We can't actually be like 6 and 7 anymore.
Why 6 and 7?
What do you want it to be? 13 and 14?
Wait, hold up. I'm just confused as to how we're like picking numbers that are adjacent to each other to like pair, like they're like this.
Oh, I've heard people say 6 and 7.
Really? I've never heard that before.
Have you heard some numbers?
No, I've never heard numbers. I've never heard numbers like this.
No, 6 and 7. That's like a thing.
Interesting.
Do you guys think that's a thing? I've heard it.
All right.
Anyways, moving past that, is there a point where it's like, yeah, we can't be this close anymore because, you know, life has changed?
I think for a healthy friendship, there should be.
Yeah. How do you approach that conversation if that takes place? Like from what you're saying, that this conversation should happen.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it's easier to not have the conversation and maybe like just take the steps if one party realizes it, but then you don't want the other party feeling like
you pulled back on them. Like, yeah.
But I feel like if this person actually matters to you, like you should explain, okay, like it's not like I'm dropping you, but I just feel like for the health of our relationship and my future relationships and stuff like that, we can't be the same way that we used to be. Yeah.
You said something interesting, for the health of my future relationships, which I think may not be a consideration that a lot of people make when they're thinking about, am I going to be friends with this person of the opposite gender? To what extent? The effect that it will have on whoever you're with in the future. Why do you think that way?
I wouldn't want my wife feeling threatened by like a female friend. Like, I know she's just a friend, but if she's held such an important place and an important status in my life, I don't want my wife to feel threatened by that. Yeah, it's just an uncomfortable situation for all parties to be in, because just like, you don't want to be like, oh, never trust a guy with a female best friend type situation. You know that they probably like hooked up before, like maybe she's like in love with him or type situation. Like that's just not fun.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So, how do you navigate that right now? Because you do have female friends in your life now.
Yes.
So how have you figured that out?
For the most part, I try to be pretty intentional about like the frequency that I'm contacting them, or like the time of day that I'm contacting them. Like, yeah, I try to avoid like super late night conversations, unless it's like a time zone thing where it's like, okay, the only time that we can talk is like super late, but then that's like more of like a scheduled thing where it's like, okay, well, like every week or every like couple weeks or every month, like we'll talk at like this certain time. I can do a deep dive catch up type of situation, but I'm not gonna be like sitting up on like all the regular texting like my women friends type situation.
No, I think that's wisdom. That was something that like I really had to think about a couple years ago. And I was like, oh, no, like I do have a lot of guy friends, but I need to figure out how to manage these with wisdom in ways that I feel like my friends maybe, I wasn't telling people, like I'm not going to talk to this person at this time because whatever. But I feel like if I had, it wouldn't have been received with like for sure. You know, that makes sense. Be like, what the heck are you talking about? But I feel like I'm still like standing in the fruit of it now. And there's still work to be done now, because there is such a thing as, yes, there are boundaries, but then you have a flirtatious personality. So then kind of right off the bat, you know, people think that.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you feel like you have one?
I don't know.
Cash money. Talk about it.
What are we doing? 6'7" cash money? Okay.
I told you. Guys, my brother brings out my inner crackhead. There are like a couple people who bring this out. You'll see them. They'll come around. But my brother is definitely one of them.
I think I just let you get away with stuff.
Most definitely. But I'm not like getting in trouble, so it's fine.
Anymore.
Guys, I did not get in trouble. Ever. What did I get in trouble for?
I mean, there was a time you stole that like cell phone as a kid.
Yeah, but it was fake. It didn't have a battery in it. It didn't have a battery. And guys, I took this phone, and this is a sidetrack. What did I ask you so I can remember? We're talking about
navigating.
Yep, the friendships now, and how you. We'll get back to it. Whatever, guys. I took this phone from kindergarten. Okay, I was 5 years old, but I just thought it was cool. I was gonna bring it back the next day, and I went to Winners with my mom, and I was in the change room across from her, and I just sat there with the door open, and then she sees me like play texting on this phone. She's like, "Where did that come from?" And I said, "Oh, we were playing construction in kindergarten, and I think I actually said like I was the foreman or I was the boss, and so I needed to have a phone. I don't know where I got that from. I was like, I was the boss and I needed to have a phone, so I just forgot to put it back." She was not buying my story at all, even though I thought it was like genius. So then I had this lip gloss kit with me. She's like, "Put that back. You're not getting it." Actually, no, that's not what happened. She bought it, and I was like, this is really scary that she's buying it for me because she's so angry. She wound up giving it to somebody for their birthday, and I watched it go away. I was like, whoa. And she, on the way back to the house, pretended like she was calling the remand center, the jail behind our house. Yeah, there was a jail behind our house. Yeah. Pretended she was calling them and said, "Yeah, come pick her up. She's a thief." I was like, okay. Went down to the basement in the house. Got in trouble. And then next thing I knew, I heard the doorbell ring. And so she was like, "They're here." I'm walking up the steps of this basement, touching the walls, being like, "Goodbye, house." "Goodbye, walls. Goodbye, light switch." And we had this light switch that like...
The dimmer?
Yeah, that had the dimmer. I was like, "Goodbye, dimmer." We get to the door. I'm thinking it's going to be the police or whoever picks you up. It was my dad. It was my dad. And I felt so scammed. I was like, I thought you called the police on me. And it was just the cops. I'm like, oh, and it was just my dad. I'm shocked, though, that from that experience, I don't have trust issues. Or perhaps I do and I don't know about them. But yeah, that was my slight aside. But yeah, female and guy friendships, that type of flirtatious personality. That's where we're at.
Yeah. I've been told in the past that I am a terrible flirt. Like I've been told like I don't know how to flirt. I don't know how to flirt at all. So for a long time I believed that I'm not. I'm also again like I'm shy. So when it comes to meeting people in general, like I'm not. I can't. It's very difficult for me to make the first move. Like you will never catch me walking up to someone, like approach someone to hit on them. That's just not. I just can't do that.
Yeah, I think in most situations that's weird.
Yeah. Also, like beyond the point, like I'm not comfortable. It's like, bro, I'm not trying to go to jail, because, and I think I understand it, but I also hate it so much. Like you can have the most honest intention, like do something like super straight up and polite. If you're not perceived as attractive, it's immediately viewed as creepy.
Yeah, fair.
And I feel like that's just an insanely unfortunate way for like things to go. It's like, oh, you can be an upstanding gentleman, but if she doesn't think you look good, it's like, you creep, get away from me. And like, listen, I'm not trying to go to jail.
True.
I'm too cute for jail.
Too cute for jail.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I've been told like I'm not flirtatious and like I'm not like outwardly ambitious in those settings, but like I found myself more lately being kind of flirty, or like find myself being like, oh, interesting. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, though what I've realized is I'm really jokey with women who are just friends.
Okay.
But the second I'm in I tease them a lot. The second I'm in a relationship, I feel like I don't really do that anymore. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. Like, you're just like the greatest thing that's ever happened.
I know, like you can't even be mean anymore.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to be mean. I just want to lift you up and stuff like that, support you and all that good stuff.
Is that good though? No, I'm thinking. No, obviously support, lift up, you know, empower. It's great. It's awesome. But like that playfulness, that like banter, that like, ooh, you know, like a little razzle dazzle.
I still do banter, but I feel like, I think this is kind of where like the trauma from being bullied comes into play.
Okay.
Whereas, if it's like a friend making a joke, like if I could tell it's a joke, then it's fine. But sometimes I can't tell it's a joke. Like sometimes things have been said to me that are mean for the sake of being mean. So like sometimes if I hear something mean, I won't recognize that it's a joke, and I'll just be like, oh, okay. I guess you don't like me then.
I know, I'm so similar though. Unfortunately, like I feel like we have different personalities, but there are certain things that I think we would internalize the same way. Like if somebody said something that's mean with a straight face, but they're actually just being sarcastic, I may not catch it.
Yeah.
And I may just be like, oh, okay. And it's just like that. Okay. And the person has to work extra hard to be like, oh no, I didn't mean that or whatever. But then like I may accept it actually if they work really hard to like say, oh yeah, whatever. But if they don't, and if they're kind of just like, yeah, like they're like, oh, I was joking.
Yeah.
I may be like itching inside. I'm like, no, reassure me really hard right now because I thought you were being mean to me. Yeah, that's an interesting phenomenon. How do you feel like we're similar and how we're different? Start with similar.
Like in terms of personality?
In whatever you can think of. You can start with personality and then whatever else comes to mind.
I think it's gonna sound weird. I feel like we're like different expressions of the same person. So I think at our core we're very similar. Like we're very like both like attributes aside and like intelligence, athleticism, artistic. So I think we're both like very kind, caring people. That just love like nurturing relationships and friendships and like are very driven and passionate about stuff. Like not to toot my own horn, but I think we're just genuinely like good people.
Aww.
Yeah, I think it's like actually like sometimes I go back to like environments that I've been in, like I've moved away from, and I go back, people are like, oh my gosh, man, like Mide, we miss you so much. Like we always talk about, oh, we would do this if Mide were here, and think about like how like we've been celebrated when like, we're leaving certain spaces, and it's like I think that's unfortunate. Granted, I don't think people move as much as us, so hopefully it's not a common experience. But I think in general, I don't think people are often that celebrated or that missed in certain places. And I think like we actually like matter to people. Like we hold, like people think of us in a positive light, more or less. Like we're able to be positive forces for good in various spaces that we found ourselves in. So I think in that sense we're very similar. I think the difference is. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to. I don't even know.
Because you say it often. You're like, we're super different.
Yeah, but I feel like it usually comes from like you're strange.
Guys, you've never seen that before.
No, you're pretty strange. I think the areas where our introversion and extroversion show up are different.
Okay.
I feel like. I don't know. I feel like more at home, you're more extroverted than me. Like I'm super introverted at home, whereas you're like, you're like biting people types. Like I think it's the youngest child energy that comes out.
He was not even joking about biting people.
She really does bite people. Like
I like to do a secret lick. So like I'll do like a little secret lick on someone's hand or someone's arm, and then like disappear or blow on it and see if they notice.
At her big age. So I think that is one thing. I think for a while, I'm the more emotional one. I think I'm definitely the more emotional one between the two of us. I feel for a long time you just didn't really have emotions.
Yeah. It's true.
It's weird. I'm the more emotional one, but you cry more. But that's also because I can't cry. Yeah.
Why can't you cry, man?
It's a trauma thing.
Yeah.
I can't cry unless like I felt like I've disappointed someone. And believe me, I've tried. Like I've tried crying. I haven't tried disappointing people. Like I've tried crying. Yeah, I've tried crying, and it just doesn't work.
It doesn't happen.
No.
Crazy.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. So, when you say you're more emotional than me, what do you mean? Like, what are the things that make you emotional?
Maybe it's not. I think I acknowledge my emotions more than you instead of trying to like suppress them or pretend that they don't exist. Yeah.
Fair. Are you okay with people seeing you emotional?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you? Because I know you were saying that you felt like you were more emotionally intelligent than your peers when you were younger, and maybe now. But how do you keep the emotions in check? Like being aware of them is one thing, being able to see them in other people. But like, how about situationally? Like, do you find that if something happens, you're good at managing the emotion in the moment, or do you kind of reflect later and you're like, I could have handled that differently?
I feel like it depends. Like sometimes, like I'm not gonna crash out. Like, that's just I'm not gonna crash. I'm not gonna throw a tantrum. That's just not me.
Yeah.
My one bad habit is I do sulk.
Okay.
Like if something has made me upset, I will sulk. Because I don't like, especially if someone's done something to me. I'm very conflict averse. To the point where it's like, okay, I don't want to talk about this right now, but I'm still like dealing with the negative emotions from this incident. And sometimes I'm just like upset, and it's like, why are you pouting?
Right.
Why are you being like, if you're upset, like I get that, like talk about it, but I don't really want to talk about it right now because I need to like time to like process this and like have a meaningful conversation. So that's something I need to work on. I need to like
not like brood.
Yeah.
How do you? Yeah, because that is something I've always been so fascinated about. Yes, in you, but then in other people as well too, where it's like, if the emotion flips, like if something happens and there's cause to sulk, how do you want to be approached in that moment? Do you want somebody to be asking, what's wrong, and get you to talk about it in that moment? Or do you want space? And do you know how to communicate that space? It's kind of like a two-part question.
Yeah. it's not, it sounds so toxic, but it's like I sometimes
a terrible way to start a
I know
sentence.
I feel like I want there to be like an observation that like, hey, like something is wrong, like I'm not behaving like I normally behave, so obviously something is wrong, so be like, oh, are you okay? And I feel like it depends on the situation, like maybe I might want to hash it out right then and there, other times like I don't want to talk about it right now, type situation. So kind of is, but yeah, I'm not the best at communicating my feelings in the moment, because I don't know why I do this, but oftentimes like if I'm mad at someone or upset with someone about something, I'll then become upset at myself for being upset with that person, and it's like, oh, I shouldn't be mad, like it's fine, like it's da 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 da. So like I like try to talk myself out of my own feelings. Yeah. So sometimes that's what I'm dealing with, is like, oh, you shouldn't be that bad, like it's really not that deep. Yeah. Yeah.
I have because I think I'm the opposite. Whereas like I don't like to sit in a negative emotion for a long amount of time. Or if I am in a negative space, I like to communicate it immediately. To just be like, I am so devastated right now. I'm so sad right now. Like this is the worst day of my life right now. I've gotten pretty good at that. But it like stresses me out when I see other people in a place where they're like just so sad. I'm like, are you gonna come out of this? Like, when is this gonna stop? And so I kind of push into this selfish resolution style. Yeah. Where I'm like, no, get better right now. Let's fix it right now. Yeah. And so there have been, I think, a lot of self-serving apologies in my life that I've had to really reflect on. I'm like, whoa, I don't think I said sorry because like that's what the situation called for, and because there was a genuine remorse in that moment. I think I've apologized in some instances to get things to be better. And like let's move on. Yeah. So I'm like, cool, like I've learned the lesson, I understand what was upsetting, let's move on. But I've realized that's selfish and unfair.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and it makes sense. I think, yeah, I think how do I say this? I think if I've made someone else upset, then I can be like that, or at least like, it's weird. I feel like I want people to know when they've upset me. No, when I've upset them. Yeah. But then I am really bad at letting people know that they've upset me.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. We're very similar in that. You've been told in the past that you're an indirect with like explaining things like that, right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, how did you feel about that comment? I've gotten it too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to hear, but like, kind of like force you to reflect. Because yeah, it's kind of selfish to always want people to come to you with stuff, and like always want to like be making things right, but then not give other people the chance to like make things right in that capacity. So yeah, I don't know. It's a constant struggle, constant battle, but it's something I'm trying to like work on to, be more direct. And I've noticed I have been more direct as of late. Just like letting people know, like, hey, what you did here, that was not cool. Don't do that again. Not cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the only way. Like the only way is through. Yeah. I think we both have that conflict averse gene or whatever it is, and so we're just like coasting through, and the people pleaser is strong. The people pleaser is very strong. And people pleasing is ultimately selfish, because what you said, you're not giving somebody a chance to adjust. Yeah. You're not giving that feedback that gives somebody an opportunity to get better. So then you're actually just gaining points on them. Like you're just keeping score without explaining it. And so then when you unleash it, it's like, haha, secret. Like you did this, and this. And they're like, but I didn't know that. And you're like, you shoulda. It's like, that's not fair. Yeah. That's not fair. Okay. Yeah, we are similar in a lot of ways. I think our differences are far fewer than our similarities.
Yeah.
So like, who's better?
What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
What's something you feel like you have, or a trait you have, or something about you that you would want me to embrace more or something that you would want me to grow in and be like, Didi, get like this, please?
Younger me would have been like, just be better at math. Like, truly, because it's my favorite subject, and like I had like sympathy for you when you were struggling with it growing up, but I'm just like, but it's math. It's like the best. It's so straightforward. Like, what do you mean you suck at math?
So hard for me. I was talking to mommy about this yesterday, actually, because the one time I remember daddy getting really, really mad at me was...
It was like the -3, -4 situation.
No, I don't remember that one.
Oh, I thought there was a situation where you said that -3 is bigger than -4, or -4 is bigger than -3, and like dad got mad at you.
That's extremely plausible. The one I remember was long division.
Mm.
And so context, when we moved to the Middle East, I was in grade 5 in Canada, and when we moved countries, I was put in grade 4 for the last 2 months of the year because I didn't know enough math. Like, I couldn't do fractions, I couldn't do long division. The school that I went to beforehand for 8 months, it was an all-girls school. It was an all-girls school, and the way that they taught us to do long division was you draw circles. So imagine you have 10 divided by 2. You draw 2 circles, and then you like count and put ticks in each circle, alternating ticks in each circle, and then however many are left by the time you've counted to 10 is what 10 divided by 2 is. So it's like 5 tick marks. But like, we had to do that for all long division, so I didn't know another way. Move, and I'm in this new school. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I don't think I'm gonna get it. So my parents were like trying to put me in lessons, doing Khan Academy, doing like all of the things. And so I'm doing some practice exercises with my dad one night, and obviously you guys know the bracket, the long division thing. I think it was one of those ones where there was a remainder. Yeah. But when there's the remainder, it wasn't just that you write R3, like remainder 3. This is when you do that multiplication, and then you do the decimal, right? Like you drop the 0 and then you do the This one you had to drop multiple times, right? And I didn't know how to handle that. So I thought every time you dropped a 0, you added a decimal. So I ended up with a number that looked like 4.2.5 and daddy lost it. I was like, and mommy said that I just looked like I didn't care. Like, they were trying to like wake me up, like, why doesn't she care about this? But I just didn't have ambition in that way. I'm like, if I don't get it, I don't get it. I can't die for mathematics. But yeah, maybe that is a valid one.
Yeah. No, I think I was talking to someone recently because she was talking about how she has like a math course in college and how she hates it, but she's trying to pass it. Like, oh, I can help you if you want to. It's like, oh, really? That'd be really great. Like, I really hate math. And I was like, oh no, it's my favorite subject. And I realized, oh wait, in grade 10, I took an extra math course that I literally would never have had to take.
Yeah.
But I took an extra, like, technically grade 12 level math course in grade 10 just because I wanted to. It was
overachiever to the max. If we're saying like who's better and like who's smarter, I would definitely have to give it to you. Like, every time I explain people, like, if somebody is about to meet you that hasn't met you before, but I know them, and they want to know, they're like, oh, what's your brother like? I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so much smarter than me. And like, he's so much smarter than me. And I have zero problem saying it. So I'm just like, he likes to be really smart, and he is. And me, I don't care so much. So it's good. It works out very well.
I think we're good at different things. Like, I'm definitely more STEM, like math, science driven. Yeah. And then you're more like the writer and like the debater and stuff like that. I feel like, to me, writing is like, it's a formula. Like in school, like writing and English was the formula, the patterns, what you have to do to get a good grade. True. It's not something that I enjoyed doing.
But it's like math.
Yeah, so I made it a formula.
Yeah. And it worked. No?
Yeah, I mean, it worked, but I didn't enjoy it.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Whereas math was like, oh no, like sometimes I'll come up with like math problems to do like when I'm bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's very nice. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would not say I'm a debater.
Okay, sure, but like,
I would not say that. Fine. Would you classify my personality as argumentative?
No, that's not what I mean in terms of like...
But like in terms of doing debate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I faked that, so I don't know.
Still.
Interesting. Okay, then the flip side. What's something that I have or something that's like unique to me that you would want more of? Your math answer was a cop out, man, and we have to come back. But answer math first. Yeah.
I think you're more carefree than I am. I'm trying to be more carefree, but sometimes I just care too much. like it's so hard to be a nonchalant guy. I'm chalant. I'm not really chalant.
I swear you're wearing the chill guy outfit, no?
I mean, I guess.
I'm just a chill guy.
But even...
How does his song go? I love it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I just... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just have insecurities and I care about what people think more than I really should. Like the people pleaser thing comes out a little bit more in me. Like I remember, like, because there was a time like you were in 6th grade French, like someone was making noise and like the teacher thought it was you and she was trying to tell you like, Didi, go to the principal's office, and you said no. I remember you like talking to Dad about it and like we're at home and Dad's like, oh, if that happened to me, he would have just gone to the principal's office.
That's true. And I remember
like,
that.
I was like, yeah, because like, you know, that's what they told me to do. And he was like, but no, you're like, so I feel like, yeah, you're just a lot more carefree, you're more like stand your groundy than I am. Yeah.
That's interesting because I feel like that is such a relative thing. Like, I think objectively, you and I are still both quite like rule following people. Like we're very compliant, almost to a fault. I've realized this in recent years where I'm like, oh, Didi, just think for yourself for a second. just break free, you know? You feel like a teenage rebel. I'm like, no, it's just growing up. Okay, yes, that is interesting. Now you have to answer for yourself for real. Mathematics is crazy.
Well, I mean, like it was mathematics, but I think like just overall, like I didn't want to say intelligent, but I think I just like school mattered more to me than it did to you. Yeah, like I think also part of it was that growing up, the only compliments I really got were about my intelligence. Like I feel like you got, oh, she's so smart, she's so athletic, she's so pretty, she's so like this, that.
Oh my gosh, she's so pretty.
And like I was just like, oh, he's smart. I feel like I was just like the smart guy. So I feel like I'm okay with being a smart guy, but I feel like that was all I was ever really told.
Yeah.
Growing up.
Yeah. And that like really builds a foundation on the academics. Okay. This is something I think we may be different on. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, not on the podcast, but earlier today, about identifying with one's career.
Yeah.
What is your position on that? How do you feel about being known as a process engineer or as a chemical engineer, whatever?
It's weird. Like I'm cool with it. But I know it's not like my entire like identity is like sure, like if you ask me like what I do, like yeah, I'm a process engineer, and then I'll try to explain what it is because I'm still figuring it out.
Aren't we all?
But I know like that's not my identity. It's just what I do. Like if you wanted to, I think a more apt descriptor is if you honestly look at my LinkedIn banner, it says you're friendly neighborhood chemical engineer in training, and I got one of my classmates to make that banner for me because I'm really passionate about sustainability and, you know, combating climate change and, you know, helping scale up like really cool technologies that can, you know, save the world so they can have a much larger, like that's more what I am than my title. So yeah, like sure, like, I have no issue like being called a process engineer or I guess technically process engineering assistant or process engineering training, whatever you want to call it. But I know it's just a title and it's not a label.
Okay. Would you do it if money was not an issue? Like imagine like money is nothing. Like you can just move through the world doing whatever based on passion and what ultimately matters. Is this what you would be doing?
It's one of the things I would do.
Okay, what would you put in that perfect sphere?
I do climate change, like process engineering work in there. I put music in there. I put sports broadcasting in there. I feel like those would be like the 3 things I would do.
Okay. That's pretty good. Music, sports broadcasting, and the sustainability piece. Okay, let's talk about sports for a second. I have a really, really important thing to discuss with you.
Yep.
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
You've seen the edits, right?
Of course I've seen the edits.
Like, it'll
I probably
be...
sent like 3 out today.
Oh my goodness. It'll just be something so random. Like,
so
girl
funny.
doing her makeup, she says something crazy, and it's this crazy cut to LeBron. Oh my gosh. What's the one, the vocal coach one? That
Razor, yeah.
Oh, it's so foul. It's so foul.
It's so funny.
But what is this like wide sweeping? I won't call it an epidemic because it's not a bad thing necessarily. Like, LeBron is great. But what is this like 2024, 2025 obsession with LeBron James right now?
I think part of it is that he's been dominant for such a long time. Like, this is his 22nd year in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He's still averaging like just under 24 points, almost 8 rebounds, 9 assists per game, over a steal, like 52% from the field, like 39% from 3.
Yep.
76% from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
Bro is 40.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
He's been dominating for such a long time. And I think people are realizing like he's gonna retire the next like 2 years. Probably next year gonna be his last season, like 23rd year. Number's 23. I feel like it's gonna be
I never even thought about it.
So I think people are coming to the realization like, okay, like he's not gonna be around for much longer, but he's at this age and no one has ever been this good at this age. And if you look at his history, like he's just been so dominant for so long. It's like, oh no, we actually have to start giving this man his flowers.
Okay.
Because he's just like, he's insane. Like people take it too far. It's like, oh, I'll pour honey on you, go. Or it's like, I got a couple of sticks. I'll go another girl for you for your birthday types.
That was so funny to me. I was like, look at the comments and like, hey LeBron, I know it's your birthday coming up this week. I got a couple steaks on the grill if you want to come over.
Yeah.
Like, crazy. Yeah,
people take it too far. It's all for internet trolls. It's so funny. No, he's genuinely, I don't know, people, I think there's only 2 correct answers for like who's the greatest of all time in basketball. It's either Michael Jordan or LeBron James. If you tell me anyone else, I know it's subjective, but you're objectively wrong.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't come at me with Kareem. People put like, no disrespect to Kobe. People put Kobe in this conversation when he generally has no business being up here. Like, I'm sorry. First of all, Michael Jordan did everything you did and more.
Okay.
Also, you weren't the best player on your team for your first 3 titles. So even though you have 5, you only have 2 finals MVPs. And I know that's not like the end all be all, but it's like you weren't the number 1 option. Like you were like the 1B, but you for like maybe the last like 2000 you were number 2. 2001 you're like a 1B. 2002 you were still a 1B. Like Shaq was still the best player on the Lakers at that time. Every chip LeBron has won, he's been the best player. People be like, oh, AD was playing better than LeBron the first couple games in the bubble. Then he had a bad game 3. Okay. People are like, oh, if AD didn't have a bad game 3, he would have won Finals MVP, but he did have a bad game 3. And LeBron didn't. Like, LeBron averaged, I want to say he was probably like 30, 10, and 10 that series. Insane efficiency. Yeah, LeBron's just him.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because you said so many numbers and percentages and, things that I could never in my life memorize.
Yeah.
Because how and why? How, like, truly, how? Because you have a full-time job. Let's think about it. Let's be very realistic about this. You have a full-time job. You, like, serve at church. You do all these things. You have a life. So how do you have time to be memorizing people's stats, not just from this season, not just from a previous season, but for their whole careers?
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, like his playoff series against Miami, those numbers, those were estimates, but his stats this year, like the just under 24 points per game, the almost 8 rebounds, the just about 9 assists, the steal, those I know are a fact. Like he's above 50% from the field. He's about like 39% from 3. Those I know, and he's having a good free throw year, like 76, 77%. Those I just know.
No, that's not an answer. You have not answered me. Because how does that enter? Is it something that you sit down, you look at what do they call it again? The
box score?
Sure. Yeah. That actually is it. Yeah, you look at the box score, you memorize it purposefully, or you've just looked at it to see what's going on and it sticks. Like, what is it?
I look at it kind of like sticks. One thing I did used to do was go on Wikipedia and like look at like the all. I used to actually, I did used to do this. I would go on like players' pages and like look at their stats, and like I would like I know Michael Jordan averaged 30.1 points per game for his career.
Wow.
Same with Wilt Chamberlain. LeBron Tech, I think he's down to like 27.1 points per game. At one point, he was like 27.6, but then like he's been scoring less and less over the last since like he left Miami, so that the average was going down. Because at one point, I think he was like he had the highest points per game average of all time of active players and like of anyone outside of like Jordan and Kobe, Jordan, Wilt, something like that.
What a niche.
Yeah,
whittle
like,
down.
But yeah, so I would know like box scores. I would look at the all-time standings. So like, I'm pretty sure Hakeem Olajuwon has blocked 3,830 shots. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when he had the all-time scoring record, I think he scored 38,387 points. I haven't looked at those numbers in a long time, but I just know those numbers.
You just know
like you honestly give me a year, I will tell you who won the NBA championship. I could probably tell you who won MVP.
Okay. Guys, fact check him because I can't. 20. I'm gonna be easy on you. 2016.
2016, Cleveland Cavaliers won. They beat the Golden State Warriors, who won 73 games in the regular season in a 3-1 comeback. So they won 4-3. Steph Curry was the unanimous MVP, the only one in NBA history. What else from that season? Kawhi Leonard won Defensive Player of the Year. Who else? What else happened that year? That was Kobe's final year. That was a big one. I remember that crazy game with Steph against OKC. I remember I was at basketball on my basketball team. We were like a Red Robins watching the game, like eating dinner. And when he hit that three of the Mike Breen double bang, like that's still like singed in my memory, like knowing exactly where I was. I'm trying to think of other awards that season. I feel like CJ McCollum was most improved player. Coach of the year was, if it wasn't Steve Kerr, that would have been crazy. He won 73 games. He probably should. If he didn't win it, that would have been insane. What was the most improved player? Sixth man of the year. Was that a Lou Will year? I don't think it was a Lou Will year. I can't remember sixth man of the year. But yeah, like, okay, give me another year.
Nope. Nope, because you know too much about just that. I just sat here and thought to myself, there's nothing I'm this passionate about. Like, I actually need to develop passions because there's nothing that I know that in depth.
That's fair.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just meant to be a general sort of person and you're meant to be a more detailed sort of person. I thought I was detailed. No, I indeed am not. That is cool.
Because, yeah, the Warriors went 73-9, and the crazy thing is the Spurs were 67-15. So you have two teams win over 67 games in the same conference, which just doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen.
Now we're just showing off.
Yeah.
Just showing up. Yeah. It's like you brought me here. Anyways, okay. So I need some parting words or wisdom with a little bit of Jesus razzle dazzle in there for the green couch. First of all, how do you feel being on the green couch?
You're lucky I'm here. You're really lucky I'm here.
On my knees, not for him to be on the podcast, but for him to get into this city.
Oh, man, it's Gotham. It's Gotham, man.
It's not. I don't like the
City's
hate.
Stinky.
I don't like the hate. No.
City's stinky. I don't have resolutions for this year. I feel like I stopped doing resolutions a while ago.
Yeah.
But like I feel like my quote for this year unironically has been live, laugh, love. Like I know it sounds funny, but like, I feel like there's been a lot of stuff that's happened in the last couple years, and I feel like I was just trying to like get through it. And now it's like I want to like, I just want to like enjoy life more, like, do more spontaneous things. I'm a very practical person. Like one of my friends calls me Captain Practical. Shout out Tatiana. Yeah, I'm Captain Practical. Like I'm it's very weird, like being an emotional person, but people like I'm very emotional and very logical. I'm a lot of both. Most people know me as a logical person,
right?
Very practical in that manner. And like, I mean, I love being practical. I love being organized. I love being a planner, stuff like that. But like, just like doing more things just because. Yeah. Like not necessarily needing a rhyme or reason to do something. Like even being here, like I technically shouldn't be here, but it was like, oh, I can be. So I mean, I guess. So doing more stuff like that, doing more things that I find enjoyable. trying to spend more time with friends, trying to spend more time with people I care about, trying to do more things that I love. But I know that's a very like general stuff. Yeah, I really like actually making like intentional efforts to like do the things I say I want to do. Beyond like my career or like the things that I have to do.
Yeah. That's very good, actually. I feel like, again, two sides of the same coin, because yours is live, laugh, love, but be intentional about it. Mine is lean forward, because I can really sometimes take a back seat to things and just kind of, things are all right. We'll go with the flow and we'll lock in when we need to lock in. But then I wind up feeling really behind and feeling like I failed people in my friendships and in relationships where I'm like, yeah, I've kind of just let things happen and not taken an active effort.
Right.
And so, yes, to the live, laugh, love, but also the lean forward and being super serious about the things that I need to be serious about, like being on top of them. That's my main thing this year.
I think, honestly, the live, laugh, love came from, like, Lizzie McAlpine. Because I would just, like, say, like, live, laugh, love Lizzie. Like, when I found her as an artist, I was like, oh, just, like, live, laugh, love Lizzie. Because, like, I went to her concert. And I was like, dang, I'm not the demographic for this woman. Like, it's a bunch of, like, young college, like, teenage white girls who, like, all dressed in, like, long skirts and stuff like that. I'm like, that's not me, but her music bangs, so live, laugh, love Lizzie.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Okay, broski, well, thank you for coming onto Green Couch Corner. No, you didn't say anything about Jesus. You gotta.
Shout out Jesus. Shout out, got a homie, go by the name J-Dog, aka Jesus. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I hope you had a good time here on the Green Couch. I loved having you. This is so fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
You'll come back. Hey. Or I'll move the couch. Like, I'll move. The couch will move, and then you can be here again.
That's the one.
Okay, fine.
That's the one.
Okay. Well, see you guys. Thanks for being here.